For task 2A, you're going to need to get two papers. One says 2A types of sentences, color by number, and it looks like this. It has 15 questions. And then the other one is a coloring page that has numbers in it. So any paper that's cut into size, you need to make sure that you glue it into your notebook in case you don't finish it today. You'll have it for the next time that we work on our mastery grid, and you can pick up from there. So the directions say label each sentence just like we do in class to determine if it's simple, compound, or complex. So now we're going to mix them all up. Now, I don't expect you right now to just be able to look at a sentence and identify its type. We need to go through a process right now to figure it out. So the first step would be to look for prepositional phrases. So I see of as a preposition. So of England is a prepositional phrase. I don't see any other phrases there. So now I would look for conjunctions. If I see a comma and a coordinating conjunction, then that might indicate that I have a compound sentence. I don't see a comma with a conjunction or any other comma here, so now I'm going to look for a subordinating conjunction. And I do see the subordinating conjunction when. So you should put a box around it, just like we've been practicing in class, and then use it to help you find the dependent clause. When he was only 17 years old. If I can find a dependent clause that has a subject, he, and a verb, was, after it, then I know that this is a complex sentence. So you can circle this or color it in black, and what you're going to do is if the answer here was number one, for question number 1 was complex, you're going to go find the number ones on here and you're going to color those boxes in black. Then you're going to go on to number 2. It says he was gifted in jousting and wrestling, and he was well loved for his youthfulness. So my first step is to look for phrases, and I see 2 prepositional phrases in jousting and wrestling. So I'm going to highlight that. And I see another one. I see for as a preposition. For what? For his youthfulness. So I'm going to highlight that. Now I need to decide if the sentence is simple, compound, or complex. Again, I think the easiest one to look for is compound. I would look to see, do I see a comma with a coordinating conjunction? And I do right here. So you on your paper are going to circle this. That's what we do when we find a comma and a coordinating conjunction. In order for it to be compound, though, we've got to be able to identify a subject and a verb on the left and a subject and a verb on the right of that comma conjunction. And so over here I can see he is the subject, was is the verb, so you should label that S and V. And on this side, he was well loved. He is the subject and was is the verb. So now I can tell that this sentence is compound. All right, we're going to do 2 more together, and then the rest you're going to do on your own. So for number 2, I see that the color is orange. So I'm going to go find all the number 2s on here and color them in orange. Number 3, his subjects adored him until he began murdering his wives. So the first thing I would do is look for any phrases, and I see a preposition until. So now I have to think, is there a phrase with a noun after it, or is there a subject and a verb? So let's say that I thought that until he was a prepositional phrase. If that was a prepositional phrase and I took it out, my sentence would read, his subjects adored him, began murdering his wives. That doesn't work. So I think until is going to be acting like a subordinating conjunction here. Until what? Until he began murdering his wives. I see a subject, he, and a verb, began. So you should have a box around until, and then use that to underline the dependent clause, until he began murdering his wives. And if I can find a dependent clause, then I know that I've got a complex sentence. And since number 3 was complex, I'm going to go find all the number 3s, and I'm going to color them in red. Number 4, and this is the last one we're going to do together. He turned out to be an evil thinker. So I'm going to look for phrases. I see a preposition out. However, there's no noun after it. So I think out is just working by itself. It's not a preposition right now. I see the preposition to. It's not followed by a noun. It's followed by a verb. So I'm going to put brackets around this one because that is an infinitive. And we've been talking about infinitive phrases. The whole phrase would be to be an evil thinker. If you want to circle that with the bubbles, the way we were doing that in class, you can do that because that helps you eliminate it. So now I got to decide, is it simple, compound, or complex? First, I like to look to see if it's compound. That's the easiest to me. Do I see a comma and a conjunction or a semicolon? And I do not. So next I would look to see, is it complex? Do I see a dependent clause? Well, I already got rid of this part of the sentence, so I'm left with he turned out. I do not see a subordinating conjunction, so this one has to be simple. So I'm going to go find number 4s, and since it was simple, I'm going to color all of those boxes in yellow. So you're going to continue going on the same way here, all the way to 15, and finish coloring this page in. When you finish, you're going to click the link here that says exit ticket and make sure that you work very hard. Check your answers to get a 75% so you don't have to go back and do those sentences again.